So let's start recording, and just let me share my screen just to review what is on this Google slide. And I can see you guys are looking at it. That's great. But over here, I just have the first link is just to the schedule of workshops that we have set up for the year. I will be updating these and adding and removing. So just keep in mind that this is changing. So keep an eye on that. You can always bookmark this page so that you can have it and have the most up-to-date schedule for workshops. I'm sorry, that was the second link. Yeah, Jose's workshops, that's where you'll find the workshops. The first link is a link to a survey, and it will help us a lot if you take some time. It shouldn't take longer than 1 minute to just complete the survey and let us know how we're doing or any suggestions on how these workshops should run. So we will be grateful to hear from you if you were to complete that survey. And then the third link in the middle here is just a tutorial that I put together. So with images, screenshots, and so basically exactly what I'm going to do today is going to be included in this instructor guide. So that's another valuable resource if you want to refresh your memory on Padlet. You can always click here and it'll take you to that guide. I've also created a student video tutorial. So if you plan on doing assignments using Padlet, you can always link this onto your course, and students can go in there and take a look at Padlet. And if you're interested in meeting one-on-one with me, that's the link to my Calendly. All right, that's the app that I use to book one-on-one sessions. So feel free to have that also, if in case you do want to meet with me one-to-one. So those are my 5 links that you can have this slide in case you ever need to refer to these links. All right. Again, it's only going to be, I think it's only 3 of us in here, so feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions as we go along. So it's very informal, and so just jump in if you want to have a question or you just want to say something. It's fine. Go ahead. I don't mind. Let me take a quick look to see if Pilar is in the room, because she's going to show. Oh, here's Pilar. Yeah, so Pilar's in the room. So basically, Pilar is a professor in the Modern Language Department. And,
hi, everybody.
Oh, there you go. Pilar's here.
My internet just went away and it came back, so thank God for that.
Oh my gosh, the timing is perfect.
Yeah, I know.
You're back.
Okay, so did you just showed it, no? So that I can quickly show.
Sure.
You have been helping me to do, because without your help, I am nowhere. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I am basically using the Padlet to work with the students' pronunciation and their ability to write a composition. And what I did is I chose this format because this is the way I keep track of who's doing what. And then each column is their work in the class. It's easier for me to do this. Now, what they do is, first of all, they write their composition. She didn't do the right thing. Let's go on to somebody who actually wrote in Spanish. Let's go to Jordan. Can you go to Jordan? Yes. Yep. What Jordan did, or Shakila, they wrote their little composition. They had to introduce themselves in Spanish. And then after, right underneath, they had to record their voice. Okay? And I also asked them to upload a picture of themselves. I think Jordan did that. If you could go to Jordan again, just stay with Jordan.
Oh, okay.
He obeyed me. I love that. Yeah, so he did that, and he also uploaded a picture, because I always, this is actually my remote class, so I actually do get to intervene with them, but in my online courses, the problem there is that we don't really get to see each other. So with more reason, I want them to upload. So what I do is that after they write it, I correct what they wrote. He's pretty good actually. So what I do is I on the top part, that little black rectangle is where I can go. You can show them, Jose, show them the three little dots, and you can go and edit. Otherwise, you can't go in there. And then what I do is I point out where they have to put an accent mark, what they have to add. And then underneath, they were supposed to record because I want to hear them talk, and then a picture. And then what I did today is that I added something. It's something that occurred to me. If you can just keep going down, Jose. I don't know if I got to him. Okay. What I did is I added my comment after underneath. Something on the verb that he used. This is something I think it's an immediate correction so they know where they went wrong. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to tell them in another email that the profesora underneath is going to be their correction of what they wrote. This is one Padlet. This is just like every week they're going to write something that I tell them. In this case is an introduction, describe yourself in Spanish. But I have another Padlet. Can you go up to the Jose, to the País? They have a class project where each student has to, it's up on the top, top.
Sorry.
Yeah, where it says class project. So what I did is that they have to choose a Spanish-speaking country, and they're going to research it. So their model was La República Dominicana in honor of Jose. 1 second. I'll be right down because I'm in the middle of a thing. I'll be right down. Okay? Bye-bye. Anyway, I have to make this quick because they're delivering downstairs. So what I did is I gave them a model where they have to tell me donde está, where is it, the map, national dance, national food, and then they summarize at the end about this country, and then at the end they record their voice. Okay, so this is how I organize them. They actually love this. They practically know more than me. They upload videos, they make videos of themselves, and this is where I can see how they are. I want to hear how they pronounce and how they're researching this. Okay, so I think this has been really useful for me because in an online course, I need to see how they're pronouncing and how they're writing. And it also is my way of making it a little more personal in an online environment. Anyway, this is it. I don't know if there's any other questions. At least you see how I'm using the Padlet in modern languages. And people have different ways.
I just want to add one quick thing, Pilar. And so just to point out that Pilar is basically scaffolding this assignment, right? So every shelf, she's requesting something different. And so it's being scaffolded as a student goes from left to right. And then at the end, they're summarizing.
Jose, I have to leave because I have a delivery downstairs. So
sure. No problem. Thank you, Pilar. Thank you for sharing your course.
Okay, bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. So I wanted to have Pilar come and demonstrate at least one example before we dive deep into Padlet. And I thought what she had done here, I thought was a great example of a Padlet that's been scaffolded along the way. As you can see here, she's using the shelf template. And so what will happen in this type of template is that students are going to go under each column and click on the plus, and then they will do this part of the assignment. So you'll have all the students doing this one part right under her example or the prompt. And so it's a vertical structure. This one has been very popular at FIT. I've seen a lot of faculty use this type of assignment where it's scaffolded going left to right. The other example to this type of assignment is instead of scaffolding each column, I've also seen faculty create a column for each student. So instead of having a prompt or a task for every column, the title of the columns are the students' names. So each student will own their own column. And what this does is that basically it allows you to see all your students in one shot. I think we saw here actually in the other the other Padlet. Let me go back. Let me just go back one, and then we can start. Basically, it's similar to this right here, right? So this is the other version of the shelf template, where in this case we have the students' names. Instead of the assignment being scaffolded, we have the student names for every column. And so Jenna will own this column, Valerie owns this column, and so forth. And so what this does for you as a professor is that you can come in and say, well, okay, let's see who did the work. And it's obvious to you who did it and who didn't do the work just by scrolling left to right. You can see there's an empty column here. And also you can see those who have done the work by obviously you see that they had done the work there.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Okay. Any questions about? Let me just bump Pilar there, or let me just mute her. Any questions so far on that type of what Pilar showed us so far?
No, I currently use Padlet, but I was just wondering how other professors were using it, just to get some ideas.
Oh, yeah, no, so that's great because this is a great example. This is one type of Padlet that I'm seeing now become a lot really popular with faculty. And the number one reason is because that you can see everything in one shot. You can see who did the work, who didn't do the work, as opposed to the other template like the wall or the grid, where you're kind of searching for the names because they're not in any order. The only order that you can do is first pose or last pose go at the top. And it doesn't really go alphabetical order. And so what I helped Pilar do here is we created a template, because it does take a little bit of time to add all the students' names. You actually have to do that. You have to go in here and go into your Blackboard. So basically you go into your on Blackboard, you go to users and groups, and when you go to users, you see the roster right here, right? This is where your class roster is. And so what I did was I would just highlight the student name, copy the student name, and then you go back into the Padlet, and then you go all the way to the right, and then you add the column, and then you add the student's name that way. So it is a process. It does take a little bit of time because you might have 20 students, and so you're adding each one at a time. But if this is an assignment or an activity that you plan on doing throughout the semester, what I did for Pilar is that I created a template of a shelf template. I created a master template. After we added the names, we created a master template so that every time she wants to recreate this Padlet by clicking on Remake and then choosing Copy Design, Copy Pose, and Copy People and Privacy, so that for the next time that she creates this type of assignment, she doesn't have to enter those names over again. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So in this case, what I would do for this type of assignment, I would call this a master template with names. And I would put the course ID, for example, I would say AC 111, whatever that is, OL1, so that I know that for this course, this is the master template for this course with the student names, so that in the future, I can just click Remake and work off the master template so that I don't have to keep entering the students' names. And with Pilar, it happened that students were dropping the course, or some students were being added to the course. And so we just basically went back into the master template and we added student names who had been, the new names that had been added to the roster, or students that were dropped. and then if they were dropped, we would click on the three dots, and then we would just delete the column because that student's no longer in the course. Okay, and so that's how you would drop or add students to a Padlet template. Okay, so should I just want to get an idea of where you guys are, Larry and Mary. You guys created Padlets before, or are you familiar with the basics of creating a Padlet and then bringing it over to Blackboard? Or
Yeah.
do you like?
I've created multiple Padlets, and I just load them with information on a particular topic. So I have a Padlet per week for my course that has any kind of articles or videos that I want to share with my students, and then I load it into Blackboard the week, like the day before the course meets. And then I tell them to find they can find all that information there, but it's not interactive like the way Pilar is using it, which is what I wanted to kind of learn about.
Right, right. And so interactive in the sense of you want students to become like what she did with the correcting the homework assignments, or more like
the students are posting it. Mine is I post only.
Oh, I see. You're using it more for presentation.
Yes, yes. I for presentation of information as opposed to an interactive between the student and myself.
I understand. I understand. Perfect. So for you, Mary, it would be important to look at, for example, let's say I create a student column here. And so for you, it would be important to understand what is possible, right, from the student's perspective, right? So as a student, if they decide to post something, it's very important to know what is it that they can do from here. So for example, if you click on that three little dots, the ellipse, you can see the many different things that will help you design your assignment or make it more interactive. So for example, students can upload files, they can upload their homework, they can upload any type of file into the Padlet. They can copy links, such as a video from YouTube or an article from a website. So that's what can be done here through the link. Google, they can actually curate work. You know, if you want them to find something about, let's say like Pilar was doing, a country, and you want them to do the research, they can use Google to curate, you know, work that way. The snap is what allows students to take a selfie of themselves. This works great for the icebreakers. If like Pilar was showing us, she did an icebreaker, and students were taking a picture of themselves, and then they were recording audio. So that's what the selfie picture here does. Film, they can also record themselves. So if you're looking for students, if you're looking to do like an authentic assessment, and an authentic assessment basically is when you ask a student to describe something that they've learned. Let's say you're teaching them how to do CPR, and so you're saying, okay, the homework for this week is for you to show me the steps on how to do CPR. All right, so they would film themselves going through the steps of how to do CPR, and this will be this right here, a film, right? So that would be like a talking head video that they will produce for you. And this one is video audio. So this one is being used by Pilar, especially in her class in Spanish. She wants to, you know, hear their voices and hear how they're pronouncing the words in Spanish. And so she's teaching them Spanish, and she's able to listen to the mistakes and how they're pronouncing words. So this could be used in your course too, Mary. If, for example, if you want to get students to respond in audio, you'll say, well, can you tell me about this, or can you explain in your own words how, you know, to do CPR? And that would be this. And then the other thing they can do is also they can record or get a screen capture. So let's say if you're teaching a class on how to use Photoshop, and you're telling them, let me see, show me how you create a layer in a Photoshop project. right? So they can record their screen and show you those steps on how to get or how to do something. And that's this button right here, the screen capture. There's also a whiteboard. And so you can also, in your case, if you're presenting, if you're using Padlet to present, you can actually use it as a whiteboard and use it to draw on the screen. This one right here is if in case you want to have them point a GPS location on a map, you can also have them do that by placing a pin on the map or location. And the last one is embedding a Padlet within a Padlet, right? So if, for example, I want to, I've been working in my own Padlet, but I want to bring that Padlet into this Padlet, you can do so by going into your library of Padlets, choosing the one you want to embed into this Padlet, and then it would be a link to that Padlet. So these are different ways on how you can make it much more interactive with your students. And Mary, what course do you teach?
I use it for different ones. So right now I'm teaching digital design identity. So I'm teaching them a little bit about social media posts and creating a logo. So I have one for the first lesson was about the importance of color. So I have like articles on color, video on color, on creating color in Photoshop and Illustrator. Also different color creation tools like Google and coolers and stuff. And so I have links to all of that stuff in there. But I never thought to have them kind of post their anything they find about color. So that's what I'm thinking of doing is I can present the Padlet, but leaving it more open for students to kind of add their own information, some things they find that are interesting about the particular topic.
Yes, exactly. I was working on, and you might know Ben Gomes. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ben.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah. Well, he teaches a course on continuing education on color, and I was working with him on an assignment where he wanted students to, he's teaching them about color, so then he wants them to import their images or their photos, and that was one example of how we use Padlet so that students can, put their own work, and so they were putting their own images of the different types of colors that they were discussing in the class, and we did the same template like this where students had their own names, and then students were posting their own images, and it's very visual, and I think that's really what's important about Padlet. And I think this is what's lacking in Blackboard, because there's really no place in Blackboard. There's nothing like a virtual board in Blackboard where students can all put their work in one place and like an exhibit, right? So you can actually exhibitions. So if you're thinking about using it for exhibitions, that'll be another way that you can use Padlet, where students can then upload their work, and at the end, we can all look and present our own, work and to the whole class as an exhibition.
Can you make like if I have to grade it, would you still suggest they post it individually in the assignment area of Blackboard, but as an exhibition area they post it on a Padlet that I create for the class?
That's a great idea. So the one thing that's lacking in Padlet is the ability to put a score or a grade a student directly, and that have that grade pass over to Blackboard. It doesn't do that. So that's where the Dropbox assignment still is in a sense, a better way to grade students.
Yeah, this is just for presentation purposes for everyone to see what everyone else is doing.
Right. Yeah, okay. You can do it that way. You can do it where you have them uploaded twice, right? One in the Dropbox assignment, and then also have this for the exhibition. Another way to do it is don't use a Dropbox, and then just have the Padlet, right? But when you create the Padlet, you would do something like this. Let me show you real quick how you can, if you want to avoid having students upload their presentation twice or their exhibition or their work, So what I would do is I would, when I create Padlet, I go to build content, choose web link. Let's call this exhibition. And what I do is at the bottom here, if I do enable evaluation, oh, I have to go through this process. Let me just bring up, let me just use Pilar as an example. So I go to add to your LMS as an external tool, and I want to copy the URL so that it goes here into the URL. And then I need to do the key, secret, and the parameters. So just the key is always FIT online. The secret is always the same. The custom parameter changes, and that's right here at the bottom. I'm going to copy that and paste it over here. Okay, so this is the part that what you can do is if you don't want to have them uploaded twice, one in the Dropbox assignment and then in the Padlet, what you can do is you can enable the evaluation. And what this does is it creates a column in the gradebook. This will create a column for your grade.
Okay. So they'll still be able to see their grades. I won't have to do any manual entering for them to be able to view their grades.
The grades you will have to enter manually. That's the only.
No, I meant I won't have to do it twice. Once I grade it in the Padlet, I don't have to go in and try to do something in the gradebook. They will be able to keep track of their grades once I grade it.
Oh, right. So the grading doesn't happen on the Padlet. The grading is going to happen. So let me show you how. So let me show you what you would do.
Okay.
You would click submit. Right, and then if I go into my grade book and go to full grade center, you're going to see that column. You'll see the column at the end, right? So
okay.
I called it exhibition, and there it is, right? And
okay.
So then the grading will happen here. Let's say you gave me an 80. I scored an 80. Zaida, let's say Jeffrey scored a 100. So this is how you would enter the grades for that Padlet.
But okay, another question. I would have to do a Padlet for every assignment, or yeah, I'd have to basically do one for every assignment then, right?
Not necessarily. So this is a great question too, because let's say if you're using Padlet for low stakes, right? Really low stakes, like checking in, making sure that they're like the drafts, making sure that you're seeing that they're going in the right direction. If that's the way you're using the Padlets, and you have, let's say, 10 of them, you don't have to grade all 10 of them if it's a low stakes. If they're all low stakes.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can create a column in the gradebook. For example, you could go create column, call them Padlets. Right, and we'll score this out of 100, and we'll leave it as no category for now. And so basically, we just created a column for Padlets, and basically this column, at the end of the semester, you're going to review all of those 10 Padlets, and you're going to do one grade.
Oh, okay. All right. So then I have a new question for you.
Sure.
Once I create a Padlet, let's just call it, I'm just going to call it the homework Padlet. And each student, every week, they're going to go back to the same Padlet and just upload their assignment. So in the name that they, they'll be able to name the assignment, correct? And then put whatever the assignment is. Like if it's a video, do I have to share it with each individual student, or once I put it in once I put it in Blackboard, they're able to access it?
Oh yeah. So it's another great question, right? So the way the students are going to access the Padlet is from your Blackboard course. So for example, so right now I'm in my sandbox, and so the students are going to go into the content area of my course, right?
Yeah.
For example, they'll click here, content, and it takes them right here. And here is a Padlet that I put for them. I created this Padlet as an example. they would go in here, and you see how I embedded the Padlet so they can work directly inside here on Blackboard?
That's the same way you do it, like the same way what you just did. You put the parameters and everything, or am I doing something different? Once you copy the HTML and it goes in Blackboard, is it embedded?
There's one extra step, because this is an optional. It's not it's embedding is an optional choice. Some people prefer, because if I take away, for example, if I take away the embed code, if I take this off, let me just remove it. So now it's just a link.
No, I do then mine is embedded because it's. Do you mind if I share my screen with you?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead. Let me make sure that you are. Yes, you are. You can present.
Let me just open up one of my.
Sure. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay. Okay. I don't use Blackboard. I forgot how to share your screen.
Oh, sure. No worries. I can help you. So you see at the bottom right corner, you see that little purple icon?
The little gear?
Do you see the little square with the arrow pointing to the right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you click on that one, the share content, and then click share application screen.
It's not giving me, it just says share content. It doesn't give me
Oh, I'm sorry. One second.
That's what I was doing. I thought I was doing something wrong.
My mistake. Okay, now you should be able to see it.
Yeah, yes, okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, there we are.
So
Okay.
this is the course shell. So this I just did a typography one, and it has, that happens a lot to me too.
Maybe you changed it. I'm not sure why is that happening.
See, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you're getting that. It could be the way that you're adding the Padlet to your course.
All right, so then if I delete this and go back and add it again, do you mind if I do it in front of you?
Sure, yeah. This is great.
Okay.
This is a perfect exercise to do together. Okay.
So web link, correct?
Right. Okay. Right. And so here you would go into here we are. Okay. And no, not that one. So you don't get that one. So that's maybe why you're getting that problem.
Yeah.
So then you see on the right hand side where it says share.
Yes.
And that's the one you click on, and then you go to add to your LMS. LMS means Blackboard, basically. Okay.
Oh, this is what I'm supposed to be adding?
Yeah, there you go. And then so you
copy. That might be, okay. That might be my problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that goes there. And then, you do a tool link. And then the keys of it, yep, those are the same. The custom parameter, that you have to go back. That one, you're going to.
Let me just plug in my computer before it dies.
Sure, no problem.
Okay.
There you go. And that's at the bottom.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. Now, this is the part that's optional, right? If you decide that you want to grade it, you'll say yes or no.
Okay, that part.
And remember, that will create the column for you.
Okay.
And now the embed is optional too, right? So the embed, you have to go back. Yep, you go back into the Padlet.
Oh, what's the wrong one? So this one.
Right.
And go back to.
Yes, yes, you got it.
Yeah, so the only thing I was doing wrong was the first one. I was clicking on the wrong.
Yeah. And now you're good to go. That's it. That should do the trick. So if you click submit, there you go.
Okay. Okay, so this is what you meant by embed. So now they're able to view it within Blackboard.
Right, right. And
Okay.
if they want to see a full screen, you see at the top right corner the little arrow in the box. Yep.
Yeah, right here. Okay.
That will open it to that will open in a full screen in a new tab.
Okay, so then once I create an empty tab and just say like the tab will, I mean, once I create a new Padlet and just put homework,
Mhm.
I'll do it as Pilar did, as you did it for Pilar, and I'll have each student's name, and then they'll have the plus sign. So for every homework assignment, they're gonna give up, add the plus sign, and then they're gonna write whatever the assignment is.
Exactly. And
Okay.
and it also it might help if you do, in the live class session, you might wanna share your screen and open up the Padlet and just go over it so that they know at least a little intro into how
Okay.
yeah.
All right, perfect. That's great. I think that's how I'm going to give they're going to, I think for my benefit, I'm just going to have them drop it in 2 places here so everyone can see what everyone else is doing. And then for me, just give a grade because I grade every assignment separately. So then I will have them I'll create an assignment in Blackboard where they'll drop it for the grade and here just for presentation.
Sure, no, that works too. So yeah, so when you do the Padlet, you don't have to then enable evaluation because the Dropbox will be the
Yeah.
evaluation, right?
Yes, and I thought I had to, once I put it in here, it's automatically shared with the student, so anyone's able to come in and click and add content.
Correct. Anybody who's registered in this course will have access to the Padlet.
Oh, perfect. So this is exactly what I was hoping to get out of the coming today.
Oh, beautiful. I'm glad you got your answers. Now, if you feel okay with the template, creating the template, because if you are going to create more than one, what I recommend you do is create a new Padlet using the shelf template, and then for every column, you're going to copy and paste the student names.
Okay, so let me just go back to the dash.
You want to do one together so you can get the hang of it?
Yes, please. I'm just going to go back to dash, the actual Padlet.
Sure, sure. And although it's a little bit more work, but so far what I hear from faculty, they're telling me that it's worth it because to be able to see everybody in one shot like that, like in Blackboard, it goes one by one, every student.
Yes.
And it's like it's hard. It takes a lot of time to,
So you're to do the shelf, right?
Yeah. So right here, you can give it a title. You can call it, I don't know, template for whatever that course is. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, maybe I could just instead of a taste for adventure, I can just put homework assignments.
Yeah. They always put some quirky little funny, So remember, the first one is going to be a template. So you might want to include the word template on your title because this is the one that you're gonna this one's gonna be a cookie cutter, right? This is the one that you're gonna just reuse over and over.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And from here, then you just select whatever that background that you like, so that.
Okay, I can change the background later, and then I change the font.
Yeah, you can do that all later. See, the attribution is very important. That's the one that's going to allow the students' names to show when they post.
So I have to click on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Comments is very important because that's going to allow students this will promote social learning because how students are. They're going to be curious to see what others are doing, so they're going to comment on each other. Reactions, this is more for a student thing. They like social media, so Padlet is very much like social media. So you can choose like. They usually use a like. I wouldn't use grade because remember, you don't want, this is visible to everyone. So you don't want to put their grades here. The grade only comes in handy for the more advanced Padlet, the one-to-one. If you're going to do a portfolio, that's more advanced. That can work for grade.
So, but each student would create their own Padlet for the portfolio.
Well, the portfolio is different. So the way the portfolios work, and I'm sorry for jumping off, but
no, it's okay.
Portfolios, the way it works is, the way it works is that each student is going to have their own Padlet, and they're going to, you can either scaffold it, you can say, you can create columns and say, okay, this is done here, give me this, give me that, give me this. Or it could be just a place for them to put all their work, like, like a portfolio, basically, right? The way that Padlet does it is that you create the main Padlet, and when students click on it, the Padlet will automatically clone itself and assign itself to each of your students. You don't have to do anything.
Really? So if they were doing like I teach Photoshop and Illustrator, and they have like to do a mood page, a color story, and all that other stuff, so I can make them present it that way as opposed to the traditional PDF presentation.
Exactly. Now, the beautiful thing about a Padlet, a portfolio Padlet, is that only you, the professor, and the student, one-to-one, only you can see it. Every Padlet is their own personal, private portfolio. Only you, the professor, can see each individual student, and you can actually provide feedback as they're moving along through the semester.
So after we finish this one, can we go back and you can tell me how that works?
Sure, yeah, we'll do that one next.
Okay, right. So then I'll allow them to have comments, filter profanity.
Sure. Now there's one last feature at the bottom there. Where is it? Require approval. So just to let you know what that does is, for example, let's say you're doing a quiz or some type of assessment, and you don't want them to see each other's answers.
Oh, okay.
And so what that does is that it will make everybody's post private. And then the only way to make it visible is you have to approve each individual student's post. Okay. All right. So here we are. And so now let's create this template, right? So we're pretty good. So you click next, and you can always come back and change the settings if you like.
Okay.
And then we can click start posting. All right. So now this is where I like to have the two tabs, the Blackboard tab and the Padlet tab, right next to each other.
And get the names in there.
Exactly. You know exactly what I'm thinking here, right? So you go to Blackboard, and then you go to users. If you go to your Blackboard tab at the top. Then, we can show the names, right? So okay, let's keep it. So you get the idea.
Yeah, I get the idea, but how do I add in? Once I name this column, it will give me like.
Yeah, like let's say Tom or Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah, ABC, whatever.
It'll give me the other column. Okay, so then I can have a column. Okay.
Yes, and if you want to put them in a specific order, if you if you left click on ABC and hold it and drag it to the right, up, you need a second column. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's say you have Tom or somebody there. Yeah, CDE. Let's say you want to move them around, you can then drag. Yeah, there you go. You see that?
Okay. Yes. Okay.
And if you click on the three dots, if that student leaves the course, then you can click delete or rename the name.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and so now that this is a template, right? Now let's say you're doing your first homework. You click on remake.
Okay.
And then you change the name, you change the title, and then make sure you click on those three dots at the three options. I'm sorry, if you click remake, if you click on remake, make sure that you change the title, right? That'll be the first thing.
Okay.
And you check off copy design, copy post, and copy people privacy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And what that is doing by checking off those three things, copy design is you're copying this whole layout, so you don't have to do it all over again. And then copy people is copy post is the names, right? You want to carry over those names. And then the last one, people and privacy, that's the settings. So you don't have to do that all over again. You want to make sure you copy those 3 things when you do a remake.
I have another question.
Jose,
So let's.
I'm sorry. Jose, sorry, I just popped in. Could you explain that one more time, how you copied it?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
You can demo, just tell me what to do. So we go to remake.
Right. So before, let me give you a little bit more of the context. So basically what Mary is doing here is she's creating a template so that we're putting names. And so basically CDE stands for a student name, ABC will stand for another student, let's say Tom, Mary, Sally. And so what we're doing here is we're creating a column for every one of your students in your class, so that when they click on this Padlet, they can then click on the plus, they find their names, and then they click on the plus, and then they add their work under their name.
Can I ask another question?
Okay.
What if every shelf was named the specific homework assignment? Like if this was like typography, and each student had to add a plus, and then they would say, Melissa, and under assignment, under write something, she would list the assignment, and then she could give it. So then if I wanted to look at everyone's assignment, it would be all under one column. Can they still do it that way as well?
Yes, that works too.
Okay.
So that's another option, and what you can doing it that way, you're consolidating all 10 homeworks in one pad. Right. Yeah. So that works too. If that works better for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So going back to Audrey's question. So Audrey, so what we did here is, right, so we created this. We went to the Blackboard, to the roster in Blackboard, and what we did was we went to the users, and we went to each individual student name. We copied and pasted one by one, and created a column for each student.
Oh, okay.
I can start sharing if you wanted to share what you were sharing with us.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Thank you, Mary. That was really great. Thank you for doing that. That was really great. So basically, let me share my screen. I forgot that I wasn't sharing. But that's a good point, though, Mary. So you have several ways to do it. If you want to have it by assignment as opposed to student names, yes, you can do it that way too. It really depends on what's easier for I mean, you're the professor. You visualize your course the way it works best for you. I mean, you're the expert. But basically what I did was, Audrey, I went in here to users. Where is users? Oh, here we go, users and groups. I go to users, and that's where you see the roster, right? That's your roster. And so what I did was I went in here and I'll copy the student name, copy, and then I go back into the Padlet. Where's mine? Oh, let me just go back into the content area, and here's my Padlet, right? So here are all my students. And then I'm scrolling. You see, you can scroll left to right. And then I click Add Column, and then I can add the student's name right there, right? And so now this allows me to see who did the work and who didn't do the work in one shot. So it will look something like this, like Pilar's class, like what I was showing earlier, right? So you can see this student did the work. This, for some reason, Skylar didn't do the work. So you're basically scrolling through. You don't have to search for your student.
That's great. Wait, so you did that? You were able to add them all at once? No.
So that's where it takes a few minutes for you to add each student one by one, right? So you got to do that one by one by one. So that takes about 4
and then
4
you can
minutes.
copy that. You can copy that template for future.
Exactly. That's the point. We don't want to make more work for us, right? Since we did it once already, we already copied the names over. So here, in this case, right? In this case,
Gotcha.
this is a fresh one. It hasn't been, it's untouched, right? We don't have any students post. So now I want to make a copy of this so that I have a template. So I click remake. All right. So I'm going to do a remake.
remake is just making a copy? That's all it does?
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just making it's just like cloning or copying your,
Okay.
your Padlet. So I'm going to call this AC 111 Spring 21. And the reason why this is best practice, and I always say to include the course ID and the semester, is because later on you're going to have a lot of these Padlets, and
Yeah.
to save you the headache of confusion and not knowing which one is the real one. I don't know which one is for my AC 111 or which one is for that course. This will save you that the headache. So I'm going to name this
Gotcha.
template.
And how did the plus signs underneath each of their names just comes automatically?
Yeah, it's automatic. That's automatic. You don't have to do anything about that. And
That's
then the last,
which version of Padlet is that? I'm sorry, which format is that?
that's the shelf template.
Shelf, okay.
And that's the one that we're using. Yeah, that's the one that we've been using today, the shelf template. That's the most popular one.
Okay.
And then the last thing, Audrey, is just remember, make sure to check off these 3 boxes right here.
Uh-huh.
Copy design basically will carry over the design, the background, and the shelf template. Copy post is going to carry over the names.
Uh-huh.
Copy people and privacy is just the settings. Remember the settings that we did when we created the Padlet?
Uh-huh.
And so this is going to copy the design, this is copying the names, and this is copying the settings. So you want all 3.
Okay.
And then you click submit. And now you have a cookie cutter that you can always use. And so what I would do now, so now look at this. Now I go into my dashboard, right? And I'm sorry, I have a million of these Padlets. So it might take a little bit to load. But here you will find the one that says template. And then you just open up the one that says template, make a remake, homework number 2. And then you do the same thing, go to template and do homework number 3. See, here it is, template with names. I'll click on it, make a remake, and now this is going to be homework number 3 now.
Okay.
Okay.
You still grade it manually though, right?
Oh yes, so that's what Mary and I were talking earlier. So the grading, it depends, right? So with Padlet you can go many directions, right? So if you have, for example, 10 Padlets and they're low stakes, what you can do is you can create a column in the gradebook, and we can call it Padlets, right? And at the end of the semester, so that you don't have to grade all 10 of them individually, and this will save you time, then at the end of the semester, you'll give an average of those 10 Padlets for every student.
Okay.
That's one way. If you want to grade each one, that's okay too. You can do that. You can go into your content area, and when you go to, like, for example, this Padlet, if I do want to grade this Padlet individually, I click on the chevron, I click edit, and here you say enable evaluation to yes, and that will create a column just for this one Padlet.
Okay. That's only if you put the Padlet through Blackboard as a tool, right?
Yes, if you bring Padlet, yes, if you bring it into your Blackboard course, then yes, you'll get this option here. And then to grade it, you just go into your grade book, you go back into Full Grade Center, and then you scroll to that column Padlet, and then you enter the grade here. You'll say, okay, Jose got a 100.
Got it. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry to interrupt.
No. That's great. That was great. So now Mary, do you want me to go over the
portfolio?
Portfolio, right? So this one now, the portfolio is a little bit more advanced because it's a little bit more of an advanced feature, but it's really not that difficult to create. It's very simple. So let's create one together. All right. So I'm going to go into my content area. Here's my little pig and the beach. So I click build content and I go to web link. Right, I'm going to call this portfolio. So let's call it portfolio Padlet, right? And so now I'm going to jump from the Blackboard over to my Padlet, and I'll create a new one. Let me just close all of these. I don't need these anymore. Actually, I might need this one later to show that one. All right, so here I'm going to make a new Padlet, right? And so I always go to the pink button here. And so here are the 8 templates that you can choose from. And so this is where you have to really visualize the portfolio and how you want them to complete it. So if you're visualizing the portfolio in a way that you're scaffolding it for them, like this one, you see how this is being scaffolded?
Yeah.
Here I want you to do this. In this column, I want you to do this. In this column, if that's the way you want to do it, then we'll go with the shelf template, right? Because this is carefully, you're guiding them to the right path, right? They have to do this first, and it builds up on each other, right? It builds up, and then at the end, they might have the big project, right? Which is maybe an audio recording or video recording. So then let's choose the shelf template. And I'm just going to make this one, I'll call this one portfolio. Here you can put directions, instructions. Let's turn on attribution, turn on comments, let's turn on, reactions. I'm going to turn on the reaction, and I'm going to put grade. Because each individual student, only I can see them, and only the student is here. The student themselves can see their own Padlet, nobody else. The only other person that can see this Padlet or portfolio is the instructor, myself, the professor. So I don't mind putting the grade in here because only the student that individual student is only going to see this Padlet. And then that's pretty much it. I'll leave it like that. I'll click next, start posting. Okay, and so here I'm going to scaffold it, right? I'm going to say part 1, do part 1, then do part 2, then do part 3, and we'll stop there. So there's 3 parts they have to do for this portfolio. So the next thing is I have to bring this Padlet over to Blackboard, right? And what I like to do is I always bring the Padlet tab over to the Blackboard tab. Right, so this is where I'm working, right? So I want to put them side by side. So I drag my tab, and I apologize, I have a lot of tabs open. So this is why I like to put them next to each other, so I don't confuse myself, right? So I have my Blackboard and I have my Padlet next to each other. Okay, so the next step is to click on the share button right here. And then I'm going to go add to your LMS, which means add it to your Blackboard. It stands for Learning Management System. And that's Blackboard for us. Okay, now this is the part that's interesting. See here on the top, it says everyone works on this Padlet. So this is like a regular Padlet like we've been doing before, which is very basic, you know, a discussion or a icebreaker or an assignment. But since we're doing a private portfolio, we're going to switch it to everyone works on their own copy. And that's crucial. If you don't do this, it's not going to work. So we want everyone to work on their own. Everyone has their own portfolio. All right. So then the next step is I have to copy the URL. So I'm going to click copy. And I'm going to juggle back over to Blackboard. I'm going to paste the URL right here. And there's my URL. The next step is I have to click on this. This link is a tool provider, so I click on that. And so now I have the 3 pieces. I need the key, the secret, and the custom parameters. So if you've been using Padlet already, you know that the Blackboard will remember the keys for you, so you don't have to go get it. If you just click there, there it is right there. You don't have to go back here and copy it because the key is right here and the secret is right here. But if you already have done this before in Blackboard, it will remember the key and the secret. So if you just click here, choose FIT Online, and the secret is always the same. Okay? The only one that changes is the custom parameters. And the reason why it changes is because here, I'll show you a secret, right? You see there in the bottom, remake yes. So remake yes is basically telling Padlet that every time a student clicks on your Padlet, make a copy, make a remake, say yes, make a copy of itself, and assign itself to that student, so that you don't have to do anything. It basically does everything for you. Did you guys everyone understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. So that's what's happening here. That's why it's making it's cloning itself and assigning itself to that student who clicked on it, so that you don't have to. You basically sit back, and as students are clicking on your Padlet, they're automatically creating their own. It's creating their own account automatically. It's creating a copy of your master template, and it's assigning itself to that student all at one shot. And so if you want to grade this, you will say yes or no. If you don't want to grade it, up to you. If you are grading it, say yes. And choose the grading out of 100. And now this is an extra step, but it's up to you if you want to embed it. Basically, embedding, what it does is that the Padlet will show on Blackboard, as opposed to being a web link. So it's an extra step. It's up to you if you want to do it or not. But if you do want to do it, just go back into the Padlet, click the back arrow, choose embed, copy the embed code, click on HTML, the little window pops up, paste it in there, update, you get a yellow box, click submit, and we're done. So now, if Mary, if you were my student in my class, and if you were to click on this link, it will clone itself automatically, and then it will have, under your Padlet, it will have your own Padlet with this name, Portfolio Padlet for Mary. And if Audrey would do the same, if Audrey was in my class too, and if you go into the content area, and if you were to click on this, Audrey, it will make a copy of itself for you, and only your own copy for yourself.
Oh, wow.
Now, the next big question is, how do I grade this? Or how am I going to see each student's? Right? That's the big question.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to see it here because this is public, right? So now for you to see all the individual portfolios for every student in your class, you have to click on, this will be your name here, right? This will say Audrey or Mary will be here, and you'll click on your own name. And here, you're going to have contributors. See how this section is called made? And these are the Padlets that I made. But if you scroll down, you're going to have a separate section that's going to be called contributors. And under contributors, you're going to have, it's going to say Tom, Mary, Sally, student 2, student 3, student 4, student 5. Just like this, it's going to be like this. Each student is going to be their own one. And you're going to have to go to each individual student to see their portfolio. And that's how you're going to see their work.
Okay.
And basically, once you do this part, you're basically sitting back and waiting to see the students populate in your. You're gonna start seeing them populate one by one. They're gonna start showing. Okay, here's Mary, here's Tom, here's Sally. As they're clicking on this link, as soon as they click on this, for that student's Padlet will show up on your contributors.
Okay. Very cool.
All right. Any questions? I hope it was clear.
Yeah, it was clear. But you like you said, you're posting the video anyway, correct?
Yeah. I'm gonna post.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, I'm gonna post a video. And Audrey, I think you joined late, but let me share with you the link to all the resources right here. Let me copy this. So basically, this has all the links. I have a little survey if you don't mind completing. I do have here's the link to all my workshops. Here's the link to the instructor guide on how to create Padlets. And here's a link to a student guide if you want to put it. This is a video if you want to include it in your course. It's kind of like a little run through that I go through for your students. And then if you want to book a one-on-one session with me, you can click on that link. But let me copy the link and put it in the chat room. So you can have access to that if you're interested. And there, that's the link. And let me see, maybe I might be able to show you how an instructor that has done a portfolio, how it looks like. Let me see if I can find her. I know there's one I know that has been doing it. I can show you how you're going to see the contributors or the contributors. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Okay, it's a little slow here, but let's see. Since I'm an admin, I can see all users. So I can't imitate you, but I can see working, so I can help you in case you ever do need help troubleshooting. But let me see if I can find Naomi. I know she's doing it. There she is. So for example, Naomi, this is how it will look like for you. So you see how you have made, and this is all her Padlets. But look over here. You see that? Contributed.
Gotcha.
And so you see how these are all these are all individual students.
Yeah.
And so that's how now you're going to work one-on-one. So for example, if I go to one of these, you'll notice that Naomi, she's really hands-on, right? So look, she provides feedback. This is one-on-one feedback that she provides. She's really, I mean, she's amazing. So anyway, but that's the idea. So now at this point is one-on-one, is you and the student working one-on-one.
Got it. Okay.
It's up to you how involved you want to be. That's not for me to say, you know. That's for you to decide how involved you want to be on one-on-one.
Sure.
So I'm sorry, Jose, thank you so much. I have to run. My son just came home from school, but thank you so much for everything. This is great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jose.
Thank you for joining. I will follow. I'll send a follow-up email. But thanks again for coming. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.